How grateful are you to have come out of this, what one will call life-threatening experience? And what has been the impact on your mentality and psyche, Alibaba?
You see, the first thing is that being someone of an enlightened mind, you already have heard of people who have contracted this disease, that is a COVID virus, and had passed on. I've had friends that have passed on not too long ago. And then having been informed about all this stuff, and then it then happens to you, it's a different and total experience. It brings it home to you clearly. But you see, the fact that you then go to an isolation center and see how these doctors are battling with people who have these COVID issues, and you see them losing people by the breath of air. You see people fighting for oxygen just because it's a respiratory problem and they can't even get as well, because the bottom line of oxygen is 93% is the bottom line of oxygen. I was on 8 cylinders of oxygen. I mean, I was turning it around, 8 cylinders of oxygen. Wow. I'm not talking about somebody said something. I'm talking about a personal experience. So when you see those idiots, and I'm not even mixing words with them now, you can say broadcasting code, you can't be abusing anybody. Anyone that tells you there's no COVID is an idiot. Okay. And for the people that have lost anyone that is dear to them, if anyone is now telling you, yes, that's the oxygen mask. If anyone is telling you that there's nothing like COVID, I wish it upon their family.
Let's not go there, Alibaba. Let's not go there, yes, because somebody would say, you can't even wish this on your enemies. I know how you feel. I mean, you're telling us the impact.
Any enemy of this country, any enemy of this country, all those politicians that have stolen our money, all those people, all those enemies, I wish it upon them because I know what it feels like.
Okay, Alibaba.
I know what it feels like. And I'm telling you, I'm being very serious. And all those people that are telling people that there's no COVID and it is all propaganda, it's a hoax. I just need that. I was in room 4 and there was a turnover of people that were dying. Okay. People that were begging for nurses to give them air. People who were turning around oxygen, 20 bottles in 2 days.
Air that we take for granted.
That we take for granted. That you cannot even just to exercise your lungs so that your lungs, that's somebody that is lying down and taking oxygen. That you take for granted. And then one person will sit somewhere and say it is all being drummed up. It is because it has not happened to you.
Okay, Alibaba, I want to ask, because you used the expression, it brought it home to me. You know, and just to try and empathize a bit, I know you're not feeling like you have anything in common with these people, but let's try and identify with them a little bit. What do you think it will take for us to bring home that message to those who, without them having to experience it, communicate to them the reality of this pandemic?
I think what is necessary is information. And then for those people who have it, to continue to tell people. Let me tell you something. As soon as I made my story, made it public, people are sending me messages to say they had the same thing, but because of stigmatization. What is stigmatization? It is like having malaria, cough, cholera, or something. You just say it. It has happened to me. This is how bad it is. See, there are some people who don't make it because some of them did not believe that it was COVID. By the time they then realized, the man that was in room 5 was a pastor now. The man that was in room 5 that they carried out, at about 3 a.m., he was begging for air. Next door. So you can see how close to reality that is.
Yeah.
He was begging for air. And by the morning, when I now managed to sleep, and I woke up and asked, how is the fisher guy? They said, he's gone, no bros.
Yeah,
then you still have people.
That's my next.
You still have people who.
That's my next question. You witnessed, Alibaba. One is feeling one can feel, your vibe. This is real. You witnessed people die. Give us a graphic illustration of what it is like, people dying around you, and you survived. You came out of that to tell your story.
Let me tell you, my gas mask, I'm going to keep it for the rest of my life. I'm going to keep it for the rest of my life. I had it on me, and thank God. See, these doctors are working with minimum protection. Minimum protection. And so I was there, and people were coming to beg for space. And meanwhile, I'm talking of VVIP. I'm talking of VVIP area. The Gbogbo side. You can see people that can't even walk, can't breathe, can't go use the bathroom, and they're defecating on their beds and spitting into buckets. And these doctors they're getting the lowest form of protection, and they're still coming, and nurses coming to administer medication, attending to people. To just put it clearly, the doctors that are working there, I won't do it.
Wow.
If you do, what I will tell you, and the doctors that are resigning, I will tell you, if I have a brother or a daughter or a wife or anything that works in that place, in the conditions that those doctors are working in, it's sacrificial. They are putting their lives on the line, and it should be appreciated. Everybody, and if you have any donation, take it to that place directly and give to those doctors. Those doctors that wake up every day in the face of the risk to take care of us, and the nurses. No, it's not. And see, when people say, "Oh no, be subtle with your words when you are talking to these people who do not believe," I'm going to punish them. I'm going to punish anybody when they talk to no COVID.
I guess what you're really saying is that we need to drive a hard message. But I thank you for what you've done, acknowledging the work of the doctors there, the sacrificial work. But I want to catch on to something you mentioned, that you were in the VVIP area. What can we do about people at the grassroots who, this is the situation I imagine they're facing. They're living in conditions that they're already exposed by virtue of how they live. Even if they had the symptoms, what is their hope of surviving? Because where would they get the treatment? What would you say to those people in terms of saying, come forward and seek some kind of...
You see, this COVID thing is manageable. But you see, if you already have pre-existing conditions, for instance, people who are asthmatic, people who are diabetic, people who have hypertension, and anything that can aggravate your even catching the COVID, it becomes a problem. But let me tell you one other thing. One thing that is saving Nigerians that people have forgotten is that from when we were young, we have been vaccinated against malaria.
Yeah.
And the symptoms of malaria are close to the symptoms of COVID. But you see, the vaccination that we had, I don't know any of you who remembers, we used to have a medicine called Sunday tablet that was building our immunity against malaria back in the days. It is one of the reasons that the professors are saying is saving us. But you see, overseas, they never had malaria. And so they were not vaccinated against the consequences of malaria. So the immunity that we've built from when we were young is one thing that is keeping our numbers down. It is not any miraculous health system, because the chloroquine that we still take here is what they are now just discovering that they could use to treat this COVID matter. So we have been on the side of grace. But the thing is, our health system has been very bad. And this health system that is bad is one of the reasons that our numbers are growing. Then